All right, Frank. They put us back together here on live on a Monday. We got some work to do. Good to see you, man. It's been a minute.
It has. I'm glad to be here. I'm glad to be teaching this particular thing. This is like my favorite because it's so common sense and like simple. And I think of all the stuff we've done, this particular thing is where the folks who come to it are the happiest because they're like, oh my God, dude, okay, this is no longer overwhelming and scary. I understand completely how to do this now. And that's always nice, you know?
It is, and I was thinking about this before, where it's evolved so much since we first did it, since we first started introducing it to the customer base, and since then, thousands of new customers have come on. So what's old to one is new to someone else, and I think that's pretty neat part about all this is that it's almost like trading in your car for a new version of it, just a later year, or you get a whole new car. I feel like we got best of both worlds, same make model, but just better bells and whistles and better years. So I got some friends here joining on, Frank. For some reason, and the numbers just people love jumping on and seeing you in action here. So give me a quick second, if you don't mind, kind of just making sure you got stuff on your end set up. I'm going to check a few things on mine, and let's get this ready to go live here.
All right. Oh, I thought we were. And we still use
Oh, we're live.
profanity and say
No, no, no,
Marky right
no, no,
there.
no, 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 no profanity, Frank.
Oh
We're
man,
live.
because I had a list. I was
No,
like, oh, I haven't
no,
said
no,
any
no,
of these
no,
things yet.
no, no,
Okay.
no, no profanity. But okay, I think I got this situated here. Got the green light that we got this shared to the group. Look, if y'all could hear or see us, let me know in the comments below where you're tuning in from. If it's your first time meeting Frank, great guy. You're gonna have tons of fun. If it's your fifth time or 50th time, welcome back. I'm glad you could join me and join the rest of us. We got a jam packed training ahead of you. 3 days worth, Frank.
Now look, if you do have fun, don't tell anybody because it's a weekday, and we're not supposed to have any fun on weekdays. So like, be cool.
Monday nonetheless. So,
Yeah.
but if you're tuning in, let us know where you're tuning in from. If you're a brand new high level user, just say, I'm brand new. Don't put your account number, don't put anything about your account. Just say, I'm brand new. I'm ready to learn. Let us know. Let's try to work on a half a sentence to a full sentence of how excited you are or what your goal is and why you signed up for the training. I'm going to get these comments and these engagements over to Frank in our private chat so we can take a glance and then incorporate it into the training here. But Frank, we are on a tight schedule, and I don't want to be sent an invoice here for the time. So would you mind just kind of letting people know what's going on, man? Like, how are you doing, and why are you excited about this, and why did you say yes, and what's to look forward to?
Okay. So you're saying tight schedule means I don't start with the 15-page poem that I had written about this?
If we could put that for the day 2, day 3, it'd probably be
Okay,
better.
I'll skip that one. But man, it was good, dude. I mean, it had like words with 3 syllables and everything. This particular, well, first of all, like I love high level. So I've been a customer since 2021. And I learned about high level from my friend Billy Jean Shaw. And he was like, dude, there's this company and they make the software and it's awesome and you can sell it. And if you sell it, then you can like keep the money. And I love Billy Jean. And I'm the type of person who believes everything that anybody tells me. But I'm also a paranoid weirdo. And I was like, y'all, as soon as the camera turned on, my contact lens started being weird. So sorry about that. So I was like, there's no possible way. This is way too good to be true. So I called the folks at high level and they're like, no, dude, I mean, it's like, it's real, you know? And I was like, nope, don't believe you. I didn't tell them that outright because that would have been rude, but I was a customer for a year, like just using it with no thought of reselling it or doing anything. I was like, let's just see if this thing works. Cause I don't know if y'all have noticed, but a lot of software that's made by marketing people is special. So I was like, okay. So anyway, used it for a year and was like, oh my God, this actually does the stuff that they say it's going to do. And it's really cool. So I started selling it on my own, as like my own white label and everything, and had a tremendous amount of success with that. And then became an affiliate and a brand ambassador, I guess is the term. I don't even know what you call it. But fancy. And it's just been a fantastic experience. And they're just a really good company who they make their absolute first priority making the thing good, and that's very rare, especially in this industry, to see people so obsessed with making the thing work. So why I wanted to do this particular training is because one of the amazing things about high level is this got probably, I'm just going to be winking at y'all. I'm sorry, this contact is just not cooperating. There's not a lot I can do with it, but just pretend, Um, but one of the great things about high level is it has probably 852 billion features, which is awesome. And that can be overwhelming if you've never used it, and it's, you're anything like me, when you're tempted to offer it to other people, you're like, look at all these 94,000 things you can do. So the reason I'm excited about this one is because we deliberately have chosen to focus on one single feature. And the reason why is because it's simple, it works, and it doesn't require a tremendous amount of salesmanship in order to sell it. And that's important to me personally, because before I got extremely lucky and stumbled upon an ad that says you can sell things on the internet and make money. This was in 1999. I was a door-to-door salesperson, and I absolutely hated it. I hate sales. I don't like the rejection. It bothers me, and I don't like bothering people, like interrupting their day and everything. And this particular feature is the kind of thing that makes it where you don't have to really do that. It works, and it solves a big problem for people, and it makes people very happy. So that's aside from just being a raving fan of high level in general, because they've always treated me well and my customers well. I'm very excited about this one particular thing because it will decomplexitize. That's a new word. I just made that up. Decomplexitize everything, and everyone will be able to be like, oh, okay, I understand this. This is doable. Whether you do it or not is up to you, but there will be no more overwhelm, and no more mind chatter and no more what ifs.
Yeah, and that's a beautiful segue into those that are just chiming in here. Looks like we got most of the people here that had signed up for the event tuning in live. If you're on YouTube or Facebook, we're keeping an eye on the chat. We're going to be engaging with you here. But you are now officially tuned in to the SaaSPRENEUR Workshop with our special guest, Frank Kern. And just to get a little formal here, we have 3 days, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, where we'll be tuning in live here, 12 p.m. Eastern. And we'll be going over today, day one, the opportunity and the mindset around the reputation management feature and how Frank Kern had put together his white label SaaS and used different features. And that is one of the ones that they use for their customers. And he's going to address several things around the 33 million businesses that are out in the US. And he's going to go in depth as to why you don't need to be a tech giant to help your neighbor. So that's going to be today. Tomorrow, we're going to be getting your first customer fast. And Frank puts together this dummy-proof, no-brainer, direct way of getting engagement with his exercise that he's going to be sharing with you. And what we're going to do in day two is we're going to hold you a little bit accountable here to participate. And you're going to go ahead and put that message out there, whether you like it or not. You're going to just run with what Frank says on us here, and we're going to celebrate what those responses look like. And the whole takeaway of this is that there's gold in your own backyard, and Frank's going to show you how easy it is to go gold hunting, gold digging. Well, I don't know about gold digging, Frank. That's probably not
that's probably terrible. Yeah, we're going to meet. Basically, this is called the Gold Diggers Workshop.
Yeah. And then day three is we're going to be getting the sale without selling. And this was my favorite part because if you're a salesperson, you overthink this stuff. And what Frank goes over here is the power of demonstration, beginning things casually, working through them casually, and then having them sign up naturally. And the power of that is the offer of the price, the feature, and bringing everything together. So Frank, I don't know if I might have missed something. I'm trying to kind of go back to the way we saw this work for thousands of people before when we first launched it together to make sure we can get that same effect for our thousands of new customers that joined us now. Other than that, if you're cool with it, I want to throw the mic over to you, and to your notes and your presentation, because I think we're all ready to learn here. If you're all ready to learn from Frank Kern, and you're all ready to learn what you could do within high level for reputation management, type in the chat below. Ready to learn. Let's go, Frank. I'm going to go ahead and share his screen here. Frank, I'm going to share you. I'm going to be back here in the cut. I'll be in the cut here. If you need me, just holler. But let's get this show on the road.
All right, sweet. Hopefully that didn't happen to y'all. Like my internet was like dropped for a second and then came back on. So I don't know if that's me or if it's Restream being weird or whatever. But let's get jiggy with it. All right, my slides are on this monitor. So if I'm looking this way while I'm talking to y'all, it's not me being rude. I've got this weird thing where I always want to maintain eye contact with the camera. If I put the camera on top of the monitor, you're going to be this close to my face, and really nobody wants that. That's just terrible. So what we're going to do today is all here. So we're going to get rid of the yeah buts and the confusion and the fear and the overwhelm and all of that kind of stuff. And the reason we're focusing on this is because I've been helping online entrepreneurs for 26 years. Last month was my 26th year in business. I've had over 86,000 and counting. I think the last time I counted, it was like 2018 or something. Business owners pay me to tell them what to do. And the big thing that gets in the way of like person who's here and they want to go here, the big obstacle is this. They usually tend to overcomplicate stuff and overthink it, and they get freaked out, or their contacts just won't cooperate and they just have to keep winking at everybody on a live webinar. So that's what we're going to do today. All right. So I'm going to help just make all that go away. So tomorrow, when I'm like, hey, okay, do this thing, we won't have any of the, oh yeah, but I'm worried. So that's our mission today. All right. And it's very deliberate and it worked really well last time we did it. So we're going to keep doing the thing that worked. All right. So here we go. Maybe. All right. Google Slides would help us on the right monitor. There we are. Okay. First of all, man, is this like a big deal? According to Google, everything on Google's true. This was the last time I searched. There were 33 million small businesses in the United States alone. That's a whole lot right there. And again, Google. So I'm assuming it's true, but whatever. Let's just say it's half of that. 5.5 million new local businesses open every year. So the first point that I want to make is our focus in this workshop is, hey, you know what? There's a lot of business that can be had probably within 10 miles of your house. And I grew up in a really just freaking really should have rethought the contact situation. I grew up in this little town called Macon, Georgia, like really small town. And even in a small town like that, I mean, there's enough to make a living off of just 10 miles from where you're at. So when I talk about local today, I mean like local, so you're probably never going to run out of prospects, which is good if you focus on the local business market. Now, the better news is, just going to keep this eye closed here, I suppose. Local businesses, specifically small owner operated local businesses, like the hair salon or the barber or the restaurant or whatever, Crazy Eddie's, House of Tires and stuff. They need a ton of help when it comes to marketing. Like they just don't know what they're doing. They never follow up. They answer the phone half the time because they're busy. You've likely experienced this for yourself, and that's a shame for them, but it leaves a lot of opportunity for you because you can help them. So that's good. And the better news is that High Level makes tools that have already been proven to help them. So what we're going to talk about offering today is one of their 897 billion different features. And this one feature is like one of the first ones they made. And it's just worked forever. Forever, of course, meaning for quite some time, not literally forever. So it's proven. We're not selling anything. We're like, oh, I hope this thing works. Like we know this works, which is good. And you probably know this already, but this is literally hundreds of thousands of businesses use high level every day. So it's not like we just threw together this thing and here's hoping it works. I mean, this is well established, battle tested software that just keeps getting better every year, which is good. And the reason I bring that up is because I wouldn't want to go to, especially in my own community, and sell somebody something that sucked, because that would be embarrassing. Then you would look bad, and nobody wants to look bad. So you don't have to worry about that with these dudes. Um, what's funny is that figure of the whatever it was, 5 million something small local businesses being made, assuming my math is correct, and we all know that math is not an exact science, that's less than 2% of the total addressable market are these like local type of businesses. I mean, so it's just like there's so many more of them than they are of you, that even if every single person that was here today turned into the greatest marketing and salesperson in history, we couldn't take care of them all. Just the demand far outweighs the supply, which is good. You want that, you know. We don't want to sell a thing that they've already got plenty of. So that's fantastic. So millions of local businesses out there that need your help. But in order to help them, and this is important, you really need to understand what you're selling, because there can be a lot of confusion around this. And this is I need to be careful because I don't want to come off like I'm condescending. I don't think that I will, but if I do, please know it's not my intent. Okay. So I'll clarify that. It's real easy when we're thinking about, okay, I'm going to sell marketing software to local businesses. Therefore, I'm going to talk about features and tools and software kind of stuff, you know, and like here's all the million things it can do. Technically, I mean, we are selling software with a million features and tools, but that's not the messaging we want to put across. The messaging we want to put across is how to make sure your contact lenses work. What we're really selling is solutions. And this is, I know it sounds like elementary, but I'm telling you, like the basics are the stuff that work, you know? We're selling solutions to specific problems. And what this really translates to is we're selling them a better future, not better features, because none of these businesses are waking up in the middle of the night going, if only we had some software with a lot of features. Like your local person, that's not what they're thinking. They're thinking, if only we had more customers, you know, if only I could not worry about making payroll next week. Like that's what's on their mind. So these are the types of things we want to help them with. And these are the three problems that typical small businesses, whether they're hyper local, you know, or even big, these are their problems. Number one, not getting enough customers. Number two, not getting enough customers consistently. You know, it's feast or famine or whatever the phrase is there. And number three, they're all stressed out because everything's disorganized and they're reacting to stuff, and there's really no systems in place to help them grow. So usually you'll have a situation where you've got a business owner, and that business owner has just one-eyed Frank over here. The business owner has like the staff or whatever, and they don't do half the stuff right, you know, and now the business owner's trying to do everything, and they're doing a terrible job of doing everything at once because they don't know how to do half of this stuff, and they're trying to run their business, and they're like putting out fires all day. That's the classic tale of pretty much every small business owner in the United States. So that's, again, like bad for them, but it does give you a lot of opportunity because we can solve these problems. So we need to understand, like, the thing that they want is, at the end of the day, all right, that if we had to boil it down to a simple statement, and I wouldn't want to like go out and say this because it could potentially be misleading, but in their heart of hearts, what they want is to do nothing extra but get more money. That's what they want. So the question is, okay, how can we come as close as humanly possible to actually doing that for them and proving we can do it for them? Because if we can, then it's not a hard sale, you know? So that becomes a question that we want to solve for. Now, what they don't want, incidentally, and this is important because this is where we tend to focus, is They don't want to learn something new. They don't want another thing they got to do. They don't want to train somebody, and they don't want to have to figure out 900 features, which goes back to the very first thing I said. It was like, hey, we're not selling features. We're not selling software. We're selling futures. We're selling a solution to the problem. None of these folks, the barber, the contact lens fixing guy is not waking up in the middle of the night going, man, dude, I wish that I could train someone to use some software with 900 features to go and do this stuff. Like they don't want that. They just want, I wish I was just making more money and had less stress. Like that's all they care about. So we want to sell a simple solution that fixes all of this, that gets more customers, gets them consistently, and does it without the business owner having to do all this stuff that they don't want to deal with. And that's it's a stretch unless you know what to sell and how to sell it. All right. But this is what we want to do. This is our mission. So one of the easiest ways to, and I have to keep looking over here. I'm sorry for that.
Frank, if you need a minute to fix the contact, man, go right ahead.
Dude, it's going to stay like this unless I go all the way upstairs and change contacts. That'll take like 3 minutes.
Oh, good. Whatever you feel most comfortable with. But I just want to make sure that the chat is not broken, right? Because, it's a Monday and anything's possible. But how many of you agree with what Frank is sharing here, where you're selling something to somebody and they just want you to handle it for them all in A to Z, and that's it? How many of you are selling a feature or high level as a whole, whether it's white label, gray labeled, or you're an affiliate? How many of you are selling it and you're like, oh my gosh, they want something that I can't offer personally right now, which is done for you, everything included? And the reason why I'm asking here is because Frank's going to start to unpack how you tie this all together here. And the good news, Frank, is that the chat is not broken. He was just a little delayed, right? You got us all in the zone here listening, that everyone's just focused. So we got things moving here. And if you do need to go get your contact fixed, I'll figure out what to say for 3 minutes while you're gone, but I'll give it back.
Look at eye drops right there. Hang on. Let me just pop in
Okay.
some eye drops.
So look, while Frank is getting his eye drops,
He does this when I'm live, by the way.
Yeah, I want him to be comfortable. I want to make sure that he can give the best he can to all of y'all, because that's why you're here. How many of you right now are struggling with actually selling the service to a small business? Maybe you even know the person. You're like, man, they won't buy it from me. Let me know. I want you to unpack your struggle right now in at least a complete sentence. JB, I'm having a hard time just selling this and collecting money because, I don't know how to really use it yet. And I'm afraid that, it's not going to work as promised. Or you're still in the research phase of trying out how to figure this out, right? And then for those of you that are in the back that are just watching and observing, and they're experts that have been using high level since the beginning, OGs, please chime in as well. Because I know a lot of you will share your perspective on how to position high level. So look, if someone is commenting below, I'm having a hard time selling it because I don't know enough about it. Let me know if that's you. I'm having a hard time because in my region of the world, it's hard to accept payments. Let me know if that's what it is. Or it could be just like, JB, I don't even know how I got here or what this is. Tell me more, right? Because that pops up too with the algorithm. But I want you all to get comfortable just giving complete sentences. So Frank, you look like you're back. You're smiling now. Before you had me worried.
Oh, I got like fresh random chemicals. God knows what it is in my eyeball, but it feels a lot better.
All right. Well, then I'm going to throw it back to you because there's a lot of heart unpacked here, and people really want answers. People really want to know how can I monetize this? And I know you got the goods, so I'm going to give it back to you to share it.
Cool. All right. So like thing number one, if you're overwhelmed and scared, it's real hard to move forward. So my mission today is to turn that off so you can be like, oh, okay, I'm going to be all right. And then we'll move forward. So tomorrow I'll show you like, okay, press this button, copy this, paste it, hit send, and see what happens. If you're anything like the last folks who did this, you'll be like, oh my God, people actually want to talk to me. It's pretty cool. So we'll pick up. And again, like my monitor's over there, so I apologize for looking at the monitor, but I had to redo my camera setup. All right. So one of the things that's going to help them the most and give them what they want is to give them this business system that gets them more reviews. And if you compare like your reviews to really cool sounding stuff like voice AI and AI chat and all of that, it doesn't sound exciting to us because we are marketing people and we like cool marketing toys. The mechanic down the street has like doesn't know a damn thing about that, and to that person, he's like, "What in the hell is it?" Like it's over their head. Not to say they're dumb or anything, but they don't spend 24/7 glued to marketing stuff like we do. Everyone can understand reviews. So imagine if you were Google and someone asked them to tell you who the best plumber in town is. What would be the easiest way for you to figure that out? So you're Google, your job is to tell the user who's the best plumber in San Diego. Well, I think we all know where this one's headed, right? Reviews. That's how you get listed, and like that's how someone would know this looking for the best plumber in San Diego. They would check the freaking reviews. Duh. What's cool about this is you don't have to sell anybody on this idea. They already know it. And they're like, yep, that is in fact how that works. I am aware. So that's good. So Google will suggest businesses that get good reviews. And if they have no reviews or less reviews or bad reviews, they won't suggest them as much. So it's kind of like, well, you get more good reviews and you're going to get more free traffic from Google and stuff. So that's kind of like a no brainer. And then getting good reviews is actually pretty easy if you have a system for it. Obviously, you have to have a good product. We're taking that, into like one of those, clearly that's an obvious assumption categories. Most business owners don't have a system for doing it. They'll put up like a little sign or something that, one out of every 900 people reads and says, leave us a review. And like, okay. And that's kind of it. You never hear from them again or anything like that. And they're like, why don't I get any reviews? But if you have a system for it, it's really freaking easy to do. So we've got a great offer for local businesses, which is a simple system that generates more customers by getting reviews, because more reviews equals more traffic from Google, and that equals more customers. Then, of course, there's the social proof thing. So all of this stuff, you're probably like, dude, this is the most obvious thing you've ever said, ever. And there's a point to that. So many, and remember, I'm like fifth year helping people with high level, so many people like to go this route where we have to convince the business owner that a new concept is viable. This is not a new concept to them. They're already bought in on the idea that more reviews are good. They just don't have a thing to get them more reviews. That's all. So it's like kind of like if someone said, Frank, if you do 100 push-ups every day, you're going to like look great. I'm like, yeah, I know. I just don't want to do 100 push-ups. And there was a thing that would like do those for me, I'd be sold. Metaphorically, same thing. Okay. So what we got is a simple solution to a really common problem. So here's how this sucker actually works. All right. I talked to you about the mechanics of it on day 3. And we've made a little course that walks you through how everything works, but it's not really rocket surgery. It's pretty simple. But this is for everyone who's like, okay, but what happens if I actually get an appointment and I have to sell this thing? Oh my God, what do I say? I get it. That's my job today, is to turn that, weirded out, overwhelmed part of the brain off. And I'm doing that because I get weirded out and overwhelmed. That's why I'm spending so much time on it for you. So what you should know immediately is that it's okay not to know everything. That's a really, really important deal. When we first start out with this stuff, it's like, oh man, I have to know every imaginable answer to every question they could possibly have. And there's so many features, and how in the hell does this work? And I'm never going to know this stuff. And they're going to find out that I don't know the answer. And they're going to think I'm a fraud. And they're going to tell everybody. And there's going to be billboards all across my town that says, this person's a big dummy. And it's just not how it works. You ain't got to know everything. So you might show someone like how the reviews thing works, and they might go, how to do that? And I'll show you a couple scenarios here. This one works real good. This is my answer to a lot of stuff. Man, I don't know. I just know it does. Company I work with has more than 1,000 people working on this thing to keep it humming. And all I know is I trust them and I can count on them. It's like computer stuff. The end. They're like, oh, okay, cool. That is a lot better than saying, well, we've got this API connection hooked up directly into Google and other social media systems. And what happens is our system works off of cron jobs, which send automated review request notifications to your customer every 6 hours. And they're going to like glaze over and, not care. So, dude, I don't know, but it works. Works pretty good. Like if I were selling, what is it, Chat GPT or something, and you were like, dude, how does Chat GPT work? I'd be like, I don't freaking know, dude. It's AI. I'm not an engineer, but like try it, look at it, it works. And you're like, yeah, it does. Okay. It's okay to have that answer. You don't have to know all the answers. You're going to bore them if you try to explain all the answers anyway, because they're not techie people. They're like bakers and stuff. Nothing wrong with being a baker, but bakers bake. They don't tech out. All right. We don't want their heads to explode. So let's talk about how to make sure great choice of language here, how to make sure that your head doesn't explode and that you don't get weirded out about all this kind of stuff. And I'm talking to folks who are like brand new to this and dealing with the number one obstacle, which is overwhelm and uncertainty. Okay. Hear me now and listen to me later, as Abraham Lincoln once tweeted back in 1974. Slow and steady wins the race. There's a lot of stuff online, like go from 0 to 10 grand a month in 30 days or whatever. And if you don't, you're just dumb. Conceivably it's possible, but why would you stress yourself out like that? That's stupid. Instead, just like take it a day at a time. And if you take it a day at a time and you're not rushing yourself and you just do these little consistent actions every day, then you'll find that doing that yields compounding results, which is kind of cool. Another thing is you don't have to be what you're not. So another big thing when we start selling software and stuff specifically is like, oh man, I'm going to need to present myself as a software expert because I'm competing with, I don't know, Salesforce or whatever, HubSpot. And you're not at all. You don't have to pretend to be like that. We're not a global empire software company. I mean, Highlevel's freaking huge. They've got a gazillion clients, but they're not trying to be like, all corporate like HubSpot and stuff. You don't have to try to act like that. So what you can do is position yourself as who you are, which is, hey, I'm the friendly dude down the road, like my partner and I here, if you're doing this with someone else, or whatever, we're the friendly folks, live down the road. My kid goes to the same school as your kid. That's way better positioning than, oh, yes, I'm part of this giant corporation and I'm very serious and I have khakis and a polo and I've got a little logo on here. Like, there's no need for that, especially when you're dealing with hyperlocal. Now, if you're going to try to sell something to a, board of directors at a hospital or something, maybe. Why would you want to do that? Those guys are no fun. So in the hyperlocal world, which again, to define hyperlocal means like business owners that are, 10 miles away from your house or whatever. Eye drops lasted 10 minutes, by the way. That always beats fancy executive. Like you can look like me, a freaking, dude who ate a Hell's Angel, and you're still going to be okay as long as you're just upfront with everybody. All right. So my advice about this thing as we proceed is just to relax. Please don't sprint and be like, I got to get from 0 to 10 grand in 30 days or else I'm a loser, because that's what all the people on Instagram say. Like, no, you're not. You're going to make intelligent decisions and you're going to make sure you enjoy yourself. And if you just keep going, you're going to be fine. So just try to get a handful of clients in your first month or two. Don't be driving yourself nuts and sprinting, because putting pressure on yourself like that is almost guaranteed to result in failure. It just freaks you out. It makes bad decisions, makes you think in the short term, and it's no fun. So let's not do that. Remember this. They don't really care about us. All right. They just want their main problem solved. And if they believe that you can help them solve their main problems, that's all they care about. The end. Like that's it. So we don't have to do a whole lot other than show that. And the good news is, I suppose, I mean, it's good news for us, is that they're always going to have these problems. Not enough sales, not enough sales consistently. That's it. They never go away for small businesses. And in the event that today that problem was solved for every single small business in the world, guess what? By this time tomorrow, there's 5 million more of them that have that problem, because there's 5 million of them started every day, according to the Google. So, like I mentioned earlier, very few, like 0.5% or something, of your hyper local, normal mom and pop businesses that live in your town have any clue about marketing. Like nothing. And just, don't believe me, just go, walk and check out what they're doing and see, and you'll know that they just don't. A lot of them just somehow miraculously exist by the mere fact that they have a place that in a highly trafficked area, and that's all. So they turn to their personal networks looking for help. Hang on. I might actually have to take these out and put on glasses of all things. All right. So when they do this, hang on, is important. So imagine you're the local plumber or whatever. You know the deal. Most business owners are friends with other business owners and stuff. Doesn't have to be competitors or whatever. What the plumber hangs out with the pizza shop owner and all this kind of stuff. And the way they learn about things is from their other business owner friends. Well, if you do a good job for one of them, that one of them is going to set you up as like, this person actually freaking helped me. It's amazing. I use this company, what are they called? Fresh Desk, I think. Anyway, it's a help desk program. Been with them for, 15 years, because like 20 minutes after I set up my free trial, they called me and they're like, you need any help setting anything up? I was like, you don't want to sell me anything? They're like, no, we just want to make sure you set it up right. And I was so absolutely blown away by that I've been a customer forever. And I've told that story probably like 300 times with no compensation at all, because I don't care. All right. So being a regular person with a cool little software thingy that helps get reviews is 100 times more appealing to your local barber or whatever than being a sales rep for some giant faceless corporation. So you can take that one to the bank. So please don't think you have to change who you are. You don't. It's too much work, and it doesn't work. So here's our winning formula. All right. Step number one, make sure your contacts work.
Yeah, real quick, Frank, why don't you want to handle those contacts real quick? Because I just want to get some engagement in the chat here.
Dude, I will. I'm not going to run and put some freaking glasses
We'll handle that, man. I got your back here. I just want to make sure we're getting from the audience here.
They're like, why is he winking at us?
Listen.
He's pretending as his contact. This guy's weird. Okay, I'll be right back.
You got it. So, how many of you have found yourself putting pressure on yourself to go 0 to 100 immediately? Like, think about when you first started with High Level. Were you that type where you said, man, I got to get my first 100 customers within the end of the month? Go ahead and type in the chat, that's me, an emoji, something to just verify that is what you went through. Because there's other people that are going through that right now, and they're putting a lot of pressure on themselves, and it's causing them to crash and burn. And we want to make sure that if you're in this group chat here engaging and you're talking with each other and you're sharing things, this is a form of networking with other high-level users. And what Frank's going to go over here on the next set of slides when he gets back is going to be what are the action steps you could take today. Now, when Frank had mentioned, remember, businesses will always want their main problem solved. How many of you feel that you've cracked the code on having a conversation with the business owner and essentially being able to decode their cryptic way of saying, I need help, or I'm using something now that's not working, or I'm tired of spending money that I'm wasting because everyone's selling me the same thing you're trying to sell me? Let me know if you have that superpower locked in, that if you say, JB, you put me in front of somebody and I have a conversation, I could decode it and then get them into a solution pretty quickly. And if you have not yet had enough practice, or you have not yet got that sort of checklist or that pulse check, let me know in the comments below, because we also want to make sure we get some of that over to you. Because having the conversation here is so important. If that was the case, somebody would just buy it online. Now, Frank has mentioned some big names in the industry. And I just want to clarify here, there's enough businesses for everybody to serve. Some businesses have multiple subscriptions for the same service because they're loyal to either the company or they have business with the company and other services or the salesperson. So don't feel bad. The next thing is don't think with your pocket. And Frank will go over this when he gets back here. I'm just filling in for him for a second to get his contact situated. But, here's the good news. Those same problems that you're worried about solving, that essentially, I don't know if I can even do it, they're not going away. They're just going to go to somebody else to get them done. That's why this training, these next 2 days, is going to walk you through exactly how you solve it with the reputation management feature. Now, what I'd like to know from the audience here is how many of you have actually got into the platform and have sent out your first review request using high level? It's a gut check question, because if you haven't even got in there, then we got to get you in there, right? How many of you have already sent out review requests? How many of you are familiar? And answer me in a complete sentence is fine. JB, I'm familiar with the tech, man. I'm really good at the tech. I can wire this up to be perfect. I'm having trouble with the sales. I'm having trouble with the conversations. I'm having trouble delivering it like Frank Kern's doing it right now. How do I get to do it how Frank's doing it right now? How do I get to do it with some confidence and predictability? And if it's vice versa, let me know in the chat below. Because I promise you, what your responses are not going to go into a black hole. We're going to compile them, and it's going to be what we bring into day 2 to start putting this puzzle piece of 1,000 pieces with all mismatched into a complete puzzle. Frank, how you feeling over there, man?
Pretty good, especially since I got that contact out of there.
Are those
What was funny, it was perfect until we turned the camera on. And it was like, this seems like a great time to start trying to jump out of Frank's eyeball.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Those look like meta glasses, man. Pretty trendy. I like. Frank, I got the chat kind of flowing here. And I know this is not exactly what we planned for, but I am going to put a few of this together, get it over to you so we can prepare for tomorrow. But my last question to the audience here is, what does being the local hero mean to you? What does that mean to you? Because maybe you already are in your local chambers, you're in your local gatherings, you're meeting with real people, but are you also doing that online locally? So
with this particular model, I wouldn't suggest like starting out online. We'll show you like the exact step-by-step thing to do. Remember, the plan is 0 to 100, bad. All right. Like 0 to 2 to 5 to 10 to like slow and easy, real good, because every new client gives you more confidence and more capability. So the definition, in my opinion, of a local hero is someone who is known within your local community as a person that actually can deliver on the promise of helping the business get more customers. There are very few people that can do that, not only just in a local environment, but generally speaking at an agency level, whether it's an ad agency or an automation agency. It's extremely rare for folks to be known for actually fulfilling on their promises. So when you do that, it's like unheard of. It's kind of like a contractor that actually calls people back, nothing against contractors, sorry, but like contractors, and I used to be a roofer, so I can say this one, roofers too, terrible reputation for actually returning calls. If you're that one roofer that actually calls people back, they think you're amazing. They're like, I'm the best roofer. He called me back. So it's not to belittle the concept and its significance of how important it is, but that's what being a local hero is. It's being someone that is known throughout the community as actually doing a good job.
And you don't need khaki pants, is that right?
You don't what?
You don't need khaki pants.
You don't need fancy pants?
You don't need fancy pants. You don't need khaki pants. You don't have to be a corporate salesperson to do this. Am I right to say that?
I would say you would do worse as a fancy sounding corporate salesperson to do this.
All right. So then these people want the formula, Frank. I didn't expect this whole eyeglass contact thing to get in the way here. So let's get back to what people want, which is the sauce. Frank, give me the winning formula. If you want Frank to give you the winning formula, type in the comments below. Frank, give me the winning formula. Frank, I'm going to throw it over to you.
It's a nickel each. Yep. No, I'm happy to. So we'll get granular, all right, tomorrow. But here's like a big picture. Shockingly, we find people with problems. This is really easy to do because of high level. They have this people with problems finding tool that you can just access for free that I don't think many people really use because I don't know, maybe they don't read the directions or anything, but hey, more for us, right? So we find people with problems and then uh, we offer to show them how to make those problems go away fast. We don't offer to sell them anything. We offer to show them how to make the problems go away fast. And that showing them is a difference than selling them. And this is important. I hate selling stuff. Like I get like super uncomfortable, especially in person. Dear Lord, I can do it okay in writing or whatever, but on stage or in person, I'm the worst at selling things. I get nervous. I don't like it because I did it door to door. And, people like were oddly, they didn't enjoy me interrupting their business in the middle of the day to just try to sell them something. So it's never been my thing. So we got a little system to handle that. And then step 3 is you let them pay you to solve the problem. And there's psychology in step 2 and step 3 where they actually ask you about paying them to solve the problem. So we find the people with problems and then we let them know, hey, you've got this problem and here it is, like factual evidence, proof beyond any doubt. And then you're like, I can show you how to fix it if you want. And you're like, I don't know. Okay. And then you're like, here's how it works. And then you just stop talking. And then they'll say, I don't want that, which is unlikely. Or they'll say, well, how do I use that? And then you can just tell them, be like, do you want to use it or what? And that's like the formula. But there's a lot in there. So there are steps in there and they're not complicated, but it's how you do it that matters. Kind of like, would you like some cookies versus you don't want no cookies, do you? Both of those statements are asking people if they want cookies, but they're both worded differently. So the way you present this stuff is where the magic is. There's no difficult technical thing or anything like that. And there's certainly no sorts of shenanigans, but that's the 3 steps, and thankfully, especially in hyperlocal, like this is why I'm really big on the hyperlocal thing, is you can just like identify them right there. There's another little set of criteria that I'll share with you tomorrow that really makes it all come together. So once they buy from you, which I'm not psychic or whatever, but unless you're just terrified to ask them to buy anything, this is how you ask them to buy anything. What do you want to do? That's your closing line, by the way, in the sales pitch. Once they start using it, be like, hey, would you mind telling your friends about me? That's it. It's not that hard. The challenge isn't in following these directions. The challenge is this, where we get so consumed with self-doubt, yeah buts, fears of unknown things that could possibly go wrong, that we never do these things because we're too worried about mitigating against these invisible, non-existent problems that have yet to even occur. So that's all I'm doing today, is like trying to be like, man, you're going to be okay. Just keep it simple, please, because I actually want you to get really good results from this. That would make me very happy, So that right there's the magic formula. So I got some homework for you, but it's easy. All right. If you go to that URL, which maybe we can put in the, how do you say in English, chat or something, High Level has made you all of these pre-done social media posts. And I would like it very much if you would just post one. And that's all. You don't have to say, I'm amazing. Just take the post it. And you know what's going to happen? Probably nothing, except the world won't end. You will have taken an action, and you will see that nobody showed up in your yard with pitchforks and torches, and you might even have some engagement. But the purpose of doing this is just to get over any worry about just putting yourself out there. And when you go to that URL, you'll see there's, multiple different posts to choose from. None of them say, listen to me, I'm a genius or whatever. That's just helpful information. And I just would like it if you would post one because it'll help you. It'll help you here. It's not going to make people start throwing money at you tomorrow, but it'll make everything else we do tomorrow a lot easier because you will have been like, oh, I did that and it wasn't really a big deal. That was simple. Okay. Maybe I'd like to do the next thing. Make sense? So there's one more little thing with homework. Make sure, if you haven't already, if you're like, confused about how to set stuff up, or you haven't installed the snapshot that does the review thing and all the stuff that we built for you, go to that URL. We could put that in the whatchamacallit chat. There's like real people at high level that'll talk to you, and they'll just help you set it up. So you don't have to figure it out and read the directions. I've never read the directions. I'm terrible at that. I shouldn't admit that. But be like, hey man, help me set this thing up. I don't really know what to do. And I'm like, okay. And they'll do it for free. It's pretty sweet. So go there, speakwith us/live-walkthrough. Hopefully it'll be in the comments because who's going to remember that, And book a call with those dudes because they're nice and they'll like help you out. So you don't have to worry about it. And what we're going to do tomorrow is, now that hopefully, with any luck, I know this is easier said than done, and there's nothing wrong with being weirded out by this stuff because I've had it myself. Hopefully, I've turned off a little bit of the mental, fear/anxiety, uncertainty around it, and given you at least a little bit of confidence to be like, all right, I'll just like make the post and see what happens. And then tomorrow we're going to build off that confidence because we're going to do something called copying and pasting. We're going to do two things. We're going to find your ideal prospects. And then we're going to hit copy, paste, send. And then if you're like a lot of the users in the last two classes that we taught for this, you're going to get people replying to you and wanting to see what you got. Damnedest thing ever. I call it the magic email. Had no idea it would work that good, but I'll give it to you tomorrow. So tomorrow, we'll start getting people to come to you. Pretty cool.
It is. And look, y'all, I just would like for you to share in the comments, what was your biggest takeaway? Let me know in the comments here. I want to be able to give Frank enough so when I send it over to him in a doc, he's got enough to understand the audience, got enough to make sure that we're adjusting things to get you the help you need. And as Frank mentioned before, today was all about mindset, getting rid of the pressure, really ditching this overwhelm and these excuses that happen when you're first starting something new. And now the exciting part is tomorrow. We go from knowing to actually doing. And again, we've done this already with two other groups prior to y'all joining us here. So it's proven to work really, really nice. And Frank's going to actually show you how to get those first few customers. Now, Frank, a lot of people, sometimes forget, because as cool as you are, that you actually have your own software business, right? Like you actually have your own paying customers. And I don't know if you spend hours on the phone servicing them or hours on the phone selling them, but I think by now, with a couple of decades of experience, you got it down to a T. Would you beg to differ?
Oh my God, dude. So we haven't taken a new user. I have a white label of high level. So, I was a customer from 2021 through September of 2022. And I started Rainmaker AI, which is a white label version of it. I did the opposite of what I'm telling you to do, which was I built, I want to say 20 something different pre-made automations in there, and then like 18 different custom funnels, and utilized every possible tool that they had. And I got a bunch of users and I immediately overwhelmed them. And they were like, what in the hell am I supposed to do with all of this? So I know how to sell it, but what I also know is like giving them 9 million things doesn't work. It freaks them out. They just want like a thing. That's why I'm so hell bent on this reviews thing, because it just makes sense. Every business wants more reviews, period. They already believe more reviews equals more customers, and they all have egos. So if they have bad reviews, it's going to drive them freaking crazy. If the other pizza restaurant down the road has more reviews than them, it's going to drive them freaking crazy. And if they're the ones with the most reviews, they're living in fear of the other guys surpassing them. So we don't have to convince them of any of this stuff. And there's no complexity. Like, yep, here's the machine, gets the reviews. No need to charge a lot. Easy, yes. They don't have to do anything. So it's kind of like the power bill, like set it, forget it, off you go, get another one. No need to overcomplicate things. So if I had to do my entire reselling of high level over again, I would have just done that, focused on one super simple thing instead of 9,000 features, which overwhelmed my customers, who I still have probably about 1,000 paying users to this day. We haven't taken a new user since August of last year because I just didn't want to support any more people. But it works, it's a good one, but I wouldn't do what I did.
Well, if you're ready to come back for more tomorrow, Frank's going to share hands-on how you can go ahead and get that addressable market that's out there. And before we wrap up, I just need a commitment here to make sure we're all on the same page. How many of you are going to commit to jumping on your kickoff call if you're brand new, just to get everything kind of set up properly? Let me know in the comments below. I'm going to commit to taking the kickoff call. And then how many of you that are high-level users already, maybe you've been in high level for the last 14 days, and you're like, JB, I'm trying to figure this out. I'm in between my full-time job, my side job, this job, that job, life, and I just need someone to walk me through it. You're going to go ahead and take advantage of that speakwith.us/live-walkthrough. That's the shortcut to your one-on-one help. And as Frank said, not a lot of companies are offering that. Put us to the test. Give it a shot. Frank, tomorrow, 12 p.m. Eastern, we got a bunch of stuff to go over. Thank you so much for hanging out with us, man. It's always a pleasure. It's always a pleasure. Our audience, our customers, your friends, your customers, people from all over the marketing world pop in to show support, and we really appreciate when we get to bring everybody together on a Monday, where usually it's like, doom and gloom, to bring the sunshine and get it done. Frank, do you have one of your one-liners that we could just kind of end this stream on and drop the mic?
Ain't nothing to it but to do it, man. Seriously, like, don't overcomplicate this stuff. Tomorrow you're going to see, like, if we just send like these 10 of these messages every day, it's almost physically impossible, which takes, 10 minutes to do. It's almost physically impossible not to get customers unless you just yell at the people that respond to you and insult them or refuse to sell them or something. It's really not that hard unless you want to make it hard. But if you don't, and if you just sort of follow this really basic system, it's like, damn, this is pretty cool. This works great. All right. And you get to be, pretty laid back and have customers and stuff. And then if you want to go complicate everything and do that and knock yourself out, and then you'll eventually be like, oh man, I really should have kept it simple.
All right. Well, Frank, I'm going to mic drop that one. I got to find the entry button. We're done, but don't say anything that you wouldn't say publicly. All right. I just got to get this screen to shut down here, and I don't want to get in trouble here. So look, we're out of here, Frank. See you tomorrow. Everyone, thanks for hanging out with us. Tomorrow, 12 p.m. Eastern. Take care.
Bye.